It is nothing but the amount which is earned due to connections as well as reputations. So it may fluctuate. So it may increase or it may decrease. So what type of goods they are actually producing? So it also depends on value of goodwill. Now we shall see what are the accounting treatment during admission of a partner. Hello everyone, I am Harshita, lecturer, Department of Commerce, Vidhyaashram First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence, Mysuru. Today, we are in the 5th session of the Unit 5, that is Partnership Accounts. Now, we shall quickly recall what we have discussed in a previous session. So, in a previous session, I have covered this topic, that is about admission of a partner. So, we learned what is the meaning of admission of a partner and what are the points to be considered during admission of a partner. Then, what is admission of a partner? When a partner or when a new person enters into an existing partnership firm, it is called as admission of a partner. Then, we have learnt about calculation of new profit sharing ratio. Hope you all remember the formula. So, what is the formula to calculate new profit sharing ratio? That is old share minus sacrificed share. Then we learnt about sacrifice ratio. So, what is sacrifice ratio? The ratio at which old partners sacrifice their share of profit in favor of new partner is called as sacrifice ratio. So, what is the formula? Sacrifice ratio is equal to old share minus new share. So, these were the topic and we had solved few more problems or few simple problems relating to new profit sharing ratio as well as sacrifice ratio. In today's session, we shall continue with a new topic, that is goodwill. Now, before moving on to the meaning of goodwill, I'll give a simple example so that you can clearly analyze what is the picture of goodwill. So, what is goodwill is all about. Now, say example, there are two firms, that is A Limited and B Limited, and they both are doing similar kind of business, that is automobile business. And they are situated in the same locality, and A Limited is quite older than B Limited. For example, A Limited is 5 years older than B Limited and B Limited is a newly formed organization. Now, A Limited earns a profit of rupees 10 lakh and B Limited earns a profit of rupees 7 lakh. Now, you might get a question, since they are doing similar kind of business and situated in the same locality, but the profit earned is different. Now, A Limited is earning more profit than B Limited. Why this? Because as I told, A Limited is quite older business. In the sense, it is quite popular in the market. People knows what type of product A Limited is selling and what is the service provided by A Limited. Then, what are the prices of the product? Whereas B Limited is a newly formed organization, so people are not much aware about the product. So, to tell in a simple way, A Limited is quite popular in the market, whereas B Limited is a newly formed organization and people are not much aware about B Limited. So, then what is goodwill here? The amount which is earned more than the normal profit is called as goodwill. Now, without any name, fame or reputation or without any popularity, B Limited is earning 7 lakh. So, that 7 lakh is known as what? 7 lakh is normal profit. The amount which is earned by B Limited without any name, fame or reputation or without any popularity, so that amount is known as what? Normal profit. Then what is goodwill? The amount which is over and above the normal profit is called as goodwill. So, how much is over and above the normal profit? It is 3 lakh of A Limited is what? It is goodwill. Now, clear about goodwill. So, goodwill is nothing but name, fame or reputation of the business which brings some value to the business is known as, or which helps to increase the profit of the business is known as goodwill. Now we shall go through the meaning of goodwill. I think now you are clear with this example. Now how much is goodwill? 3 lakh is goodwill. Why 3 lakh is goodwill? So this amount is earned because of the reputation of A Limited, because A Limited is quite older organization and it is very popular in the market. So that amount over and above the normal profit is called as goodwill. Now what is the meaning of goodwill? Goodwill means name, fame or reputation. So as I told, it is a name, fame or reputation earned by the firm through the hard work as well as honesty of its owners. So this goodwill can be earned in many ways. So it may be due to the honesty as well as hard work of the owners, or the product what they are going to sell, quality product what they are going to sell. So because of that also, it will create a good image in the minds of the customers. So it leads to increase in goodwill of the firm. Thus, goodwill is a value or reputation of a firm which enables it to earn higher profit. So this I have already told you. So it helps to earn this name, fame or reputation which helps to earn more profit when comparison to the normal profit earned by other firms in the same trade. So you can take this example only. So they are doing similar kind of business, but A Limited is earning more profit because of its reputation. So it is earning 3 lakh more because of its reputation than B Limited. So that is known as what? Goodwill. Now we shall go through the definition of goodwill. According to Lord Lindley, the term goodwill is generally used to denote the benefit arising from connections and reputation. So it is nothing but the amount which is earned due to connections as well as reputation. So connections means connections with the customers, close relationship with the customers, and the reputation what it has in the market. So the amount earned through that is known as what? Goodwill. Now let us see what are the characteristics or features of goodwill. So how the goodwill will be. So the first one is it is an intangible asset. So what do you mean by an intangible? Intangible in the sense it cannot be touched but it can only be felt. Now the name, fame, if you know the meaning of goodwill, it will be easy for you to recall all the characteristics or features of goodwill. Now whether you can touch the name, fame and reputation, no, you can feel it, right? So it is called as an intangible asset. Whereas if you take an asset like furniture, you can touch it, right? So it is an tangible asset. So goodwill is what? It is an intangible asset. Goodwill belongs to the category of intangible assets such as patents, trademarks, copyrights, etc. It doesn't suffer from wear and tear. So this is wear and tear. So as like asset like furniture, so there will be depreciation, right? Here it goes on decreasing. Whereas in goodwill, there is no such kind of wear and tear. So whereas in furniture, if we use its values goes on decreasing. Whereas in goodwill, it cannot happen here because it is an intangible asset. So there is no thing called wear and tear or depreciation of goodwill. And the next one is it is a valuable asset. So this, if you have understood the meaning of goodwill properly, of course you would be able to analyze this point. So it is a valuable asset. Of course, it brings certain value to the business. So this reputation, name, fame of the business will bring value to the asset. If you have gone through that example, of course, because of the name, the profit of the organization have increased, right? So it brings certain value to the business. Next one is it is helpful in earning excess profit. It is nothing but over and above the normal profit. So it will help to bring over and above the normal profit. So you know normal profit is the profit which is earned without any reputation. So this normal profit might be increased due to this goodwill. Next is fourth point. Its value is liable to constant fluctuations. Yes, of course, this goodwill as that of tangible asset like furniture, it doesn't go on depreciating. So it may fluctuate. So it may increase or it may decrease. While goodwill does not depreciate. So this I have told you, its value is liable to constant fluctuation. So it keeps on changing. So it may be due to number of factors which we are going to discuss in detail later. So why this value of goodwill keep on fluctuating? But it will not be stable, it will not keeps on decreasing like any other asset, but it keeps on increasing as well as decreasing. It is always present as a silent asset. So we call goodwill as a silent asset in the organization, where there are super profit but declines in value with the decline in earning. So whenever the earnings of the organization goes on decreasing, of course the goodwill also goes on decreasing, because there will have a bad opinion about the organization in the mindset of the people. So here the value of goodwill also might decrease. So it keeps on fluctuating. And the next one is, it is valuable only when the entire business is sold. So as I told, its value can be analyzed only when the entire business is sold, unless during admission as well as retirement. During admission and retirement, other than that, the value of business will be analyzed only when the business is sold. So goodwill cannot be sold in part. So it cannot be sold in part. It can be sold with the entire business only. So if the whole business is sold, then only the value of goodwill can be ascertained. Other than that, it can be ascertained in other situations like admission as well as retirement. The only exception is at the time of admission and retirement of a partner. Other than that, the value of goodwill cannot be analyzed until it is sold. Next is, it is different to place an exact value on goodwill. So we cannot place an exact value for the goodwill. So if you take machinery, so as I told, its value keeps on depreciating and we calculate depreciation every year, right? So we can know what is the exact value of machinery at the end of the year. But whereas for goodwill, we cannot ascertain an exact amount. So what is the value of goodwill? Because it never depreciates. It keeps on fluctuating, right? So we cannot ascertain an exact amount for the value of goodwill. This is because its value may fluctuate. As I told, its value keeps on fluctuating from time to time due to changing circumstances. So there are a number of circumstances where the value of goodwill will be changing. So we cannot point out an exact amount on goodwill which are internal or external to the business. So whatever may be the circumstances, the value of goodwill keeps on fluctuating depending on those environment. Now we shall move on to the next concept, that is factors affecting the value of goodwill. So I have told the value of goodwill is not stagnant or it is not decreasing, it keeps on fluctuating. Now we shall see what are the factors which makes that goodwill value keeps on fluctuating. So the first point is favorable location of the business. So this you might be knowing. So even the profit of the business also depends upon the location of the business. So where the business is located, where the communication as well as transportation facility is proper, there the marketing of the products will be more, thus the profit of the organization also increases. In the same way, here also favorable location of the business leads a major role in deciding the goodwill of the firm. So if the business is located at a convenient and prominent place, so if the business is located in a convenient and prominent place where there is good transportation as well as communication facility and all other facility for the business, there the goodwill will be more. It will attract more customers and therefore they will have more goodwill. Of course, when the marketing is more, of course, the name and fame of the business also increases. Thus, there will be increase in goodwill. And the next one is efficiency of management. So in an organization, if the management is more efficient, so there are very good professionals as well as efficient management are going on inside the organization, there also the activities of the organizations will be in a standard way, then the goodwill of the firm will be more. If the business is run by experienced and efficient management. So there should be an efficient management in an organization. So inside the organization, people should know how to manage the things. Then if it is proper, then of course all other activities will be proper in the organization. So if there is efficient management inside the organization, so there will be more goodwill for the firm. Its profit will go on increasing. Of course, when the profit increases, the goodwill of the firm also increases. Next is the longevity of the business. So an older business is better known to its customer, therefore it is likely to have more goodwill. So as I gave the example of A Limited and B Limited, so I have given or I have told in the first itself that A Limited is quite longer, or it is there for 5 years, whereas B Limited is a newly built organization. So A Limited, since it is there for quite longer in the market, so people are aware about the product. So people are aware about A Limited, what type of product they are producing, what are the services which are provided by A Limited. So this has led to increase in the value of goodwill of the firm. So longer the period of business, longer will be the goodwill. And of course, other points also to be considered. So it is not that the business is longer for a period, but the management is not proper, then of course there will be less goodwill in the firm. Next, nature of goods. So what type of goods they are actually producing. So it also depends on value of goodwill. If a business deals in goods of daily use, necessary goods to the customers which are using on the daily basis, so it also leads to increase in goodwill of the firm. It will have a steady profit as the demand for the goods will be stable. So when the organization is producing daily use goods, of course there will be more demand for those products. It leads to increase in profit, and thereby it will lead to increase in goodwill of the firm. Next is possession of license. If a firm holds an import license, the goodwill of the firm will be more, as it will be very difficult for other firms to enter this business in the absence of this license. So in this sense, it should have some unique character. Here, possession of license. If a organization is holding a license, so it will be secure in the market, right? So it will be running in a legal way. So it will have a good image in the minds of the people. Therefore, the goodwill of the firm also increases, whereas the other firm which is not having a license will have a bad image. Not bad image, but they will not be secure in the market. So this will lead to increase in goodwill of the firm due to possession of license. Next, monopolistic and other rights. So monopolistic means what? Monopoly means what? A single seller. Now, if a organization is supplying a unique product where other producers are not producing it, then it will have more demand. So here it is a unique seller, or it is a single seller who is selling a unique product. If a business enjoys monopoly market, monopoly in the sense single seller selling a product, then or a unique product which is having more demand. So of course, when the demand is more, the profit of the organization also increases, thereby the goodwill of the firm also increases. So if a business enjoys monopoly market, it will have a assured profit. Similarly, if it holds some special rights such as patents, trademarks, copyright, etc., it will have more goodwill. So if a producer is producing unique product where other producers are not producing, so it will have some copyrights, patents or trademarks. So thus it leads to increase in goodwill of the firm. Next is risk involved. If there is more risk involved in the business, of course the goodwill of the firm will be less, right? So more risk, less goodwill. Next is trend of profit. If the profit of the business are increasing, of course, as I told, goodwill also goes on increasing. So profits are increasing continuously, the value of goodwill will be more. Next, future competition. So if the organization is always having a fear of future competition, so there are a number of competitors for an organization. then what happens? Gradually the goodwill of the firm goes on decreasing. The likelihood or possibility of increased competition in future would definitely reduce the value of goodwill. So, more the competition, less the goodwill. And the next point is capital required. So, the amount of capital required for a business also influence the value of goodwill. If two business enterprises earn the same rate of profit, the business with lesser capital requirement shall enjoy more goodwill. For example, there are two firms like X Limited and Y Limited. Now, X Limited have invested 5 lakh and Y Limited have invested 3 lakh. But they are earning same amount of profit, that is 10 lakh. Now, which organization will have more goodwill? Y Limited, because they have invested less capital and they are earning more profit. In the sense, they have made best use of that capital. So, such type of organization will have more goodwill. And the next one is other factors. So, the 11th point is other factors. So, on that, the first one is good industrial relations. So, if the organization is having good industrial relations with the industries, they will have a good image about the organization, then the goodwill of the firm will be more. And the next one is favorable government regulations. So, if the organization is following all the rules and regulations of the government, so they will have a good image in the market, the goodwill increases. Next is stable political conditions. So, there should not be much fluctuations in the political conditions or political aspects. So, there should be a stable political conditions which also leads to increase in goodwill. Next, research and development efforts. So, it's nothing but producing a unique product. So, making less use of resources and producing a unique product also will lead to increase in goodwill of the firm, or going for research and developmental programs. So, this also leads to increase in goodwill of the firm. Next, effective advertising to establish brand popularity. Of course, advertising plays a very important role. Here, if a product is having more advertised, or if a product is more advertised in the market, of course, the demand for the product will be more, then it leads to increase in goodwill, because the people will be aware about the product. So, that product will be available in the market and the people will be aware about the product through this advertising. Thus, the demand for the product will be more and it leads to increase in goodwill of the firm. Next, popularity of the product in terms of quality. Of course, now the people will look for quality. So, if the product is of good quality, then the organization will have a good image in the minds of the people. Thus, the demand will be more. Now, we shall see what are the accounting treatment during admission of a partner. So, we are speaking about admission of a partner. Now, we shall see how we are going to treat this goodwill during admission of a partner. Now, your first situation is when goodwill is bought in cash. So, bought in cash by whom? By the new partner, right? So, when a new partner brings goodwill in the form of cash, how we are going to treat? So, first what you will do? You will add that goodwill to the cash. Why? The cash of the organization increases, right? So, cash account debited to new partner's capital account. So, this is just journal entries. So, when we are going to solve the problem, you can clearly understand how we are going to treat this goodwill. So, the first entry is cash account debited to new partner's capital account. We are going to add to this capital and goodwill. Next, the second entry is new partner's capital account debited to old partner's capital account. So, we are distributing that goodwill to the old partners in which ratio? Sacrifice ratio. That is new partner's capital account debited to old partner's capital account. Next, when goodwill is bought in cash and withdrawn. So, your first situation was it is bought in cash but it is there in the business. Now, the second situation is it is withdrawn by the partners. So, your entry will be as usual, two entries are same, that is cash account debited to new partner's capital account, where you are going to add capital as well as goodwill. And the next one is new partner's capital account debited to old partner's capital account in sacrifice ratio. Next, old partner's capital account debited to cash account. So this is for withdrawing of goodwill by whom? By the old partners. And the third situation is when goodwill is valued in the organization. Here the goodwill is not bought by the new partner, but it is valued in the organization. So first what you have to do? First you have to find new partner share of goodwill. So they will give valued goodwill. So using that amount, you have to calculate new partner share of goodwill. By using that amount, what you have to do? You have to distribute to the old partners in which ratio? Sacrifice ratio. So your entry will be new partners capital account to old partners capital account, and you are going to distribute in sacrifice ratio. So these are the simple accounting treatment of goodwill during admission of a partner. In my next session, I am going to continue with final accounts during admission of a partner. So we shall directly move through the problem. First we shall see what are the format or what are the accounts to be prepared during admission of a partner. Then we shall solve a problem. That is final accounts during admission of a partner. So my dear students, in today's session, we have clearly understood what is goodwill, what are the characteristics or features of goodwill, and what are the factors affecting the value of goodwill. In my next session, I am going to continue with final accounts during admission of a partner. See you all in my next session. Till then, take care. Thank you.